All right, so good day, freshman flames. This is Ma'am Marge, and we are back. Yes, definitely, with another week of new lessons for Gen 001 Purposive Communication. Now we're going to start off this week with Module 8, and that is entitled Exploring the Essay. Now, this lesson is the start of the second periodic grade as well as the next topic that I'm going to be discussing. So let us proceed to our discussion. So here are your lesson objectives. So at the end of the lesson, the students shall be able to identify the composition of an essay and write specific claims and evidences. Alright, so when great essays have been, written by great personalities, men and women rich in learning and experience, generously sharing their ideas, attitudes, and feelings about persons, places, and things they have known. Okay, so today you are to set foot onto greatness as your journey to the world of essays begins. Learning to write a basic essay is a good preparation for longer writing tasks, such as writing research papers, which all university students have to do. You really have to do that. Okay, now when we talk about essay, okay, so essay is actually an analytic, interpretative, or critical literary composition, usually much shorter and less systematic and formal than a dissertation or thesis, and usually dealing with its subject from a limited and this is often kind of like a personal point of view. Okay, so it's actually it includes a narrative, and it's about at least 500 words. And some of the examples of essay includes political issues, okay, literature reviews, daily life, memoirs, and reflection. The exam that you did, okay, the exam that you did for purposive communication for P1 exam, okay, that's the movie review, okay, that you did for the exam is actually a type of an essay. Okay, so that's why when you were guys asking me about what kind of literary output you're going to be doing for your movie review, I said essay. Okay, because a movie review is an example of an essay, just like political issues, just like literature reviews. Okay, so when you create a review, just like a movie review that you did for your exam, that is an example of an essay. It's often a narrative, it's often in the writer's point of view. Okay, so that's why when you were younger, okay, when you were in elementary, when you were in high school, when they said you have to create an essay, most of the things that you're going to write in your essay are your own opinions based on what you have experienced. Okay, because most of the time when you write an essay, it's in a form of a narrative of what you what you understand, what you believe in, what you have learned. Okay, so it's the author's personal point of view. Okay, and it's not that long. Okay, when you say essay, it's not that long compared to a research paper or a thesis. Okay, it's much shorter. Okay, and it's much more it's much more concise, and it's much more specific and direct to the point. Whereas when you compare it to a research, or when you compare it to a dissertation, okay, it covers a lot of aspects. Okay, and it covers a lot of topics. Yes, you still have one topic to consider when you do your research. Okay, but there are a lot of sub-factors that you have to discuss in order to expound further on that topic that you have chosen. Okay, so that's an essay. Okay, that's actually a narrative, a personal, the point of view of the author, the personal point of view of the author, and it's when you create reviews, okay, when you write short story reviews or movie reviews, those are examples of essay. Okay, now when we talk about essay, there are also basic structures of an essay. Okay, so among the basic structure of an essay, meaning to say the basic strategy, the basic yeah, this is the basic structure of your essay. How does an essay look like? Okay, so an essay must have an introduction, and then the essay must be followed by body paragraphs, and finally an essay must have an inclusion. So let's try to discuss each and every structure one by one. Okay, so when you talk about introduction, you are presenting the thesis statement or the claim. This is the part wherein we were discussing about claims, about topics, about evidences, and about conclusion. Okay, so when you present your claim, when you present your statement, what's your stand about this, that's going to be included in your introduction. So most of the time, that's going to be the first paragraph. Okay, so the claim, remember, before you're going to write any literary output, before you write an essay, you have to write the outlines. Okay, you have to write the topic first, and then you have to write your claim about that topic, and then you have to write evidences that will support that claim, and finally you have to write your conclusion. Okay, so same with an essay. Okay, same with an essay, you have to identify first the topic. Of course, that's going to be the first and foremost that you have to identify. You have to identify the topic first, and then after which, based on that topic, okay, what's gonna be your stand? What's gonna be your claim? What's gonna be your thesis statement? Okay, so thesis statement is also what we call your claim. Okay, so if you're going to create your introduction, okay, your claim or your thesis statement must be included in the introduction. Okay, so in the introduction, it all starts there. Okay, this is where you introduce the topic you're discussing in your essay and briefly, summarize the points you'll make in the paragraphs that follow. Okay, so this is also where you have to state your thesis, just like what I've told you a while ago. Okay, so, and that's what we call your claim. Okay, your thesis or your claim is the most important part of your essay, because it's the point that you're making. It's where all of the things that you're going to talk about in the essay going to revolve. Okay, and it needs to take a clear stance. That's why I'm telling you a while ago, you have to be clear on your stand when it comes to this kind of topic. Okay, and you shouldn't include hedging language that undermines that stance, like terms or phrases like seems to, quote unquote, or possibly could, because these kinds of statements, okay, it doesn't go with your stand in a certain topic. Okay, because if you're going to create a claim, or if you're going to create a thesis statement, you're going to stick to that claim, you're going to stick to that thesis statement. Okay, so you cannot use words like seems to or this could. Okay, those are not the kind of words that you're going to use when you are going to present your claim or in the introduction. Okay, now an easy way to write your claim statement is to think of it as the summary of your essay. Okay, so your claim, okay, makes and supports your essay's point in one concise sentence. Okay, so in the introduction, okay, it will contain your claim, and the way it is constructed will be like making a summary of the whole essay that you're going to do. Okay, so when you proofread, okay, after you create your essay, after you have created your introduction, when you proofread your finished essay, you have to make sure that all the body paragraphs, okay, are supporting the claim, and you have to make sure that your claim is, clearly stated in your introduction paragraph. Okay, if it's not, if your claim is not stated in your introduction, okay, you have to go back and rewrite that introduction and write a definitive claim statement. Okay, because that's what's the most important part of writing an essay. Okay, when you cite your claim, when you present your stance, okay, you have to stick to it, okay? Otherwise, if you're not gonna stick with your claim, or if you're not gonna stick with your thesis statement, okay, the body of your essay will not have a good flow, okay? Meaning to say, it's gonna be discussing a lot of points, wherein, in fact, you should only be discussing what you have presented as your claim, okay? Next, when you talk about body paragraphs, okay, your essays, body paragraphs are where you support your claim statement with facts, with evidences, okay. So that's why in the body paragraphs you may do it like, you cite a certain part of an article that definitely answers your thesis statement or your claim, okay. But you have to make sure that you properly credit the author where you got that part of his article, okay. Now each body paragraph should focus on one supporting argument for your claim by discussing related data, content, or events, okay. So that's why in the body paragraph you might have 2 to 3 body paragraphs. Each paragraph will discuss one supporting detail. Another paragraph, if you have 3 supporting details, okay, let's say for example you list down your topic, you list down your claims, and then you list down your supporting details, and you have listed 3 supporting details. When you translate that into creating an essay, okay, each supporting detail must have its own paragraph. So the first supporting detail will have its own paragraph, okay? The next supporting detail will have its own paragraph. The next supporting detail will have its own paragraph as well, and so on and so forth, okay? So if you're not sure, okay, whether you should include a specific point or detail in your body paragraphs, refer back to your thesis or claim statement. It all boils down to your claim, to your thesis statement. If the detail supports your thesis or your claim, it should be in your essay. If it doesn't, leave it out. Okay, that's the common mistake of students creating an essay. Okay, they think that longer essays are good. Okay, but if you're going to look into the body of your essay, okay, some of the details there are not supporting your claim anymore. Okay, and that makes your essay, okay, ununified. Okay, there isn't any unity in the essay. Okay, so if it doesn't, you leave out, if it doesn't support your claim, you leave out that particular sentence or group of sentences. Your thesis statement is the core of your basic essay structure, so everything else in the essay needs to relate to it in some way. Every detail, every supporting detail, every paragraph that contains that supporting detail must all answer to your claim or to your thesis statement. Okay, and finally you have your conclusion. Okay, after your 2 to 3 body paragraphs, now the last paragraph must be your conclusion. So in your essay's conclusion paragraph, okay, you summarize the points you made and bring your argument to its logical conclusion. Okay, because your reader is now familiar with your claim. Okay, you have already presented your claim, you have already presented supporting details in connection to your claim. Okay, so the summary in your conclusion paragraph can be more direct and conclusive than the one into your intro paragraph. Meaning to say, the conclusion finally gives you a clearer, or gives the readers a clearer picture of what you're trying to say in your introduction. Okay, so this conclusion is finally the elaborate part of your introduction. This is the more direct part of your essay. The conclusion is the more direct part of what you have presented in your introduction. Okay, so that's the basic structure of an essay. It should have an introduction, the body paragraphs, introduction, body paragraphs, and the conclusion. Make sure that the introduction contains your claim or your thesis statement. Okay, your topic, your claim must be in the introduction. The succeeding 2 to 3 paragraphs will be about the details, the supporting details you have presented when you created an outline. Okay, so that will be included in the body paragraphs. One supporting detail, one paragraph. Another supporting detail, another paragraph, and so on and so forth. Okay, and of course the conclusion will be the elaborate part of the introduction. What you have presented in the introduction will be elaborated further in the conclusion part. Mas direct. Okay, it's gonna be more direct than what you have presented in the introduction. Okay, so that's the basic structure of an essay. Now let's go to the different types of essays. Okay, so we have 4 different types of essays. We have the descriptive essay, we have the narrative essay, we have the compare and contrast essay, and we have the persuasive essay. Okay, so these terms sound familiar. Remember our first lesson in Gen 001 regarding types of communication, right? There is a narrative communication, there's a persuasive communication. Okay, so those terms are somehow similar with what they're trying to tell here in the types of essay. Okay, so when you talk about descriptive essay, the aim of descriptive essays is to help the reader visualize in detail a character or an event or a place or all of these things at once. Okay, the author might describe the scene in terms of the 5 senses. Okay, and descriptive essays allows the writer a great deal more artistic freedom than other writing styles. Okay, so that's for descriptive essay. Now for the narrative essay, the purpose of the narrative essay is to tell a story. Okay, so that's why if you're going to tell a story, all right, it should be in chronological order. Okay, so it's a narrative essay can be telling a story, whether that story is real or imaginary. Okay, so pieces in a narrative style will have characters, and through the narrative, the reader learns what happens to them chronologically. Okay, narrative essay can also include dialogues. Okay, because there are characters in your narrative, so there might be a presentation of a dialogue. Let's say, for example, you're narrating what happened to a person. Okay, and you're trying to tell the story of what happened to that person. Okay, and there is a part of your story wherein you are going to quote and quote what the person have said during the time that the time of the happening. Okay, so you will quote and quote what that person said. Okay, so that's a dialogue. So you can include dialogues because you are talking about what happened to a certain person. Okay, you may be able to include some parts of what happened, including the dialogue part. Okay, now for compare and contrast essay. Okay, so when you want to devote equal attention to two opposing things, a compare and contrast essay works better than argumentative or persuasive essays, okay, which lean to one side over the other. If you're going to make an essay, but the essay looks like it's leaning to one one side of the argument, then that's not going to be compare and contrast anymore. When you compare and contrast, okay, you give the similarities and the differences. Okay, you're not going to be biased in this one. Okay, you're just gonna have to compare the two without bias. But when you talk about persuasive essay, okay, so it's to persuade or convince the reader of a certain point. Okay, so you have a point that you want to, you want to communicate across to other people. Okay, and you're going to write a persuasive essay in order for them, or in order for you to influence other people to, to follow what you believe in. Okay, so it's similar to an argumentative essay. They both strongly favor a particular point of view. So if there are two sides of a coin, they said, okay, in persuasive essay, you're going to side in one, you're going to go to one side, and you're going to, present your ideas and let the people, and you are being given the chance to, persuade people to believe what you have presented. Okay, so but the difference between them, argumentative and persuasive, is the end goal. Argumentative essays just have to present their case, while persuasive essays have to, present their case and win over the reader. Persuade, okay? You have to convince a reader to believe what you have claimed. All right? So those are the different types of essays, as well as the structure of an essay. Now, in the next slide, I'll be showing you a video, and this is basic steps on how to write a good essay. Okay, so kindly watch this video. Okay.
Welcome to your crash course on essay writing. By the time you finish this series, you'll be all set to ace your essay. This is the first video of the playlist. It will learn the basics. In an academic essay, the goal is to persuade readers of a position or perspective through informed arguments, supported with evidence and analysis. There are three main stages to writing an essay: preparation, writing, revision. In this video, I'll quickly go through all the stages and steps with you. And in the next few videos in this playlist, we'll go more into detail for each stage with example sentences and paragraphs. Can't wait? Let's dive right in. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. In the preparation stage, you first need to understand the assignment and choose a topic. Once you've chosen your topic, you should come up with an initial thesis. This is the main point you want to make in the essay, or the position you're going to argue for. At this stage, it doesn't have to be perfectly phrased, but it's important to start with a clear idea of what you want to say. Then you can start creating an outline and planning your essay structure. This will kickstart your writing and keep you on track. Preparation is done, and now we're moving on to writing. Every essay starts off with an introduction. It's important to grab the reader's interest right off the bat and inform them what will be covered in the essay. Hook the reader in the first sentence, and then give context that will help your reader understand your argument. This might involve providing brief background information, giving an overview of important academic work or debates on the topic, and explaining difficult terms. But don't overdo it. Just enough to give the reader a taste, Next, remember the thesis statement from before? Present it here. Tell the reader the central argument you're going to make. The thesis statement is usually 1 or 2 sentences long, and it drives the whole essay, so make sure to spend some time on this part. You can end your introduction section with an overview of the essay, so basically signposting your essay structure. Moving on to the body section. This is the longest part of your essay, usually around 60 to 80%. Here is where you make arguments supporting your thesis, provide evidence, and develop your ideas. It's easy to get lost in a big chunk of text. To give your essay a clear structure, it is important to make use of paragraphs. Each paragraph should be centered around just one argument or idea. Introduce the purpose of each paragraph using topic sentences. A good topic sentence makes the transition from the previous paragraph and introduces the argument to be made in this paragraph. After the topic sentence, present evidence by providing the reader with data, examples, or quotes. Be sure to interpret and explain the evidence, and show how it helps develop your overall argument. Whew! The hard work is done, and you've arrived at the last paragraph of your essay, the conclusion. Here are 3 things you should do. Summarize and tie together the points you made in the essay's body. Show the outcome of your arguments. What new insights have you provided? Emphasize why your argument matters. After you're done writing, but before you submit your hard work, it's important to revise and polish your writing. Double-check your arguments. Have you said everything you meant to say, or do some points need restructuring? Finally, make sure to check your grammar, spelling, and formatting. And if you've cited sources in your paper, also use a plagiarism checker to make sure everything is good to go. Once you've checked everything off this checklist here, you're good to go. When you're ready, your step should be creating an outline for your essay. Click this to learn how to do so. See you.
All right, so what she said, what she mentioned on the writing an essay is very much the same on what I have said a while ago. Okay, so in your introduction, in the first paragraph in your essay, there should be your thesis statement, or what we call your claim. This is the claim, and it should include in the introduction. And then the body paragraphs must contain the supporting details that answers to your claim. All right, so let's have some examples. Because this is the beginning of your work before writing an essays. You have to create this outline, in order for you to be guided on what you're going to write in your essays. So first and foremost, what's going to be your topic? Teleseries. And you have claimed that teleseries are addicting. So here are your evidences that you have presented. Why is it that teleseries are addicting? Because the actors are attractive, storylines are fast-paced and exciting, problems in the story are very relatable. So if you're going to create an essay, so the topic and the claim, this should be included in your introduction, in your first paragraph of your essay. Now the evidences that you have presented, this first evidence that you have presented, this should have its own paragraph. Second paragraph, then this one is your third paragraph. First paragraph, by the way, is the introduction. Second paragraph will now be the largest chunk of your essay. So the first evidence that you have presented, this should be one paragraph. The second will have also its own paragraph. The third evidence, will also have its own paragraph. So paragraph 1, and then 2, 3, and then 4, and then lastly, that's gonna be your conclusion. It's gonna summarize all of the things that you have presented. You have to look into if you have presented your arguments well. And of course, after you have finished writing your conclusion, you have to check if the grammar is correct. You have to check the spelling, punctuation marks, and so on and so forth, just like what you have learned in revising and editing. Now try to guess what the claim here is based on the following topic and evidences. So what do you think is going to be the claim here? So the topic here is about sports. And the evidences being presented is that some athletes struggle with their academics. Some athletes have anger management issues. Some athletes don't have enough funds to get the right gear. So if based on the topic and based on the evidences, what do you think is the claim of this outline for essay? Okay, I think the claim is going to be, yeah, doing sports is challenging, because the evidences talks about having challenges, okay, different kinds of challenges in doing sports. Okay, so one challenge is the struggle with their academics. Okay, one challenge is that some athletes have anger management issues, and another challenge is that athletes don't have funds to get the right gear. So you have to make sure that when you present your claim in an outline for before your essays, okay, the evidences must support your claim, and each evidence that you have provided will have its own paragraph in order to elaborate on that evidence that will support the claim. Okay, all right, so that's how you're going to write first your outlines before you proceed to creating your essays. Okay, so it's really important that you have to create your outline first before you proceed into creating your final draft of the essay. All right. Okay, so if there are questions to our discussion, please feel free to send me a message in my messenger or in our group chat in order for me to be able to answer your questions and concerns. Okay, so that's the end of our discussion for Module 8, understanding or exploring the essay. Alright, that concludes our discussion for Module 8, Exploring the Essay. Kindly watch the next video discussion on Module 9, Understanding an Opinion Essay. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more updates on the video discussion in our subject Gen 001, Purposive Communication. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead. Goodbye, guys!